Kanger's stepping it up, boys and girls. They're stepping it up. First, you got the sub tank, the original sub tank, the 25mm beast of a clear-miser slash RTA, and now you got this 22mm sub tank, this Sub Tank Mini. Oh man, I've been in love with this thing. Been in love with it. Been using it for the past 2 weeks. Have run nearly 20 tankfuls. 20 tankfuls of e-juice through this thing. I mean, the flavor is a rockin'. It really is, okay? I've got the same OCC coil head. Been vaping on the same OCC coil head for nearly 8 or 9 days now. I put probably 10 tanks. 10 tanks of juice through that with that same OCC coil head, and it's still going strong. I mean, the coil is about to shit the bed. I mean, it's shot to shit, but it's still vaping great. It really is. The vapor production I'm getting off of it is fantastic. The flavor is fantastic, and the juice I have in here is a 70 VG 30 PG juice. And the coil head I have in here right now is a 1.2 ohm OCC coil head, vaping at 19.5 watts on this DNA 40, and I've got the airflow to its second largest setting. And like I said, that coil head is a week and a couple days old, and I mean, look at the vape quality. Well, you see the vapor production, but the vape quality is still fantastic. Full on flavor, full on freaking flavor. So just for titties and skittles, what I did was I opened her wide open, baby, as you guys can see. Okay, still at 19.5 watts on this DNA 40 with this 1.2 ohm OCC coil head. Now wide open at 24.5 watts. Oh yeah, flavor jumps, baby. 30 watts, wide open. 35 watts, wide open. Yeah, so right there it starts to get a little bit dry. Anything above 30 watts with this 1.2 ohm coil head, and it does start to get dry, but anything 30 watts and lower, and it's fantastic. It really is. My sweet spot, 24.5 watts. With this 1.2 ohm coil head with a 70 VG 30 PG juice in here. With the 0.5 ohm coil head this thing also comes with, I can take it up to 40 watts. 40 watts, I'm good to go. Anything higher than that, it starts to get dry. But I find with a 0.5 ohm coil head, 28, 30 watts is my sweet spot. So just like the regular sub tank, for this Mini, you don't need to push that much power through these coils to get great flavor and get great vapor. And it doesn't matter whether you're using the 0.5 ohm OCC coil heads or the 1.2 ohm OCC coil heads. At lower wattages, 15, 18, 20 watts, especially for a device like this, you're going to get a great vape. You're going to get loads of flavor, loads of vapor. Back to the regular sub tank, I know some people were having leaking issues. I never had any leaking issues, and I used that thing for damn near 3 weeks. Never had any leaking issues. Maybe I was just one of the lucky ones, but there was a lot of people that have leaking issues, that were having leaking issues for the regular sub tank. For this one, they fixed that, okay? They made those O-rings fatter at the bottom, fatter at the top. I've been using this for 2 weeks, not leaked on me once. I've been getting loads of questions about, hey Rip, how does this compare to the Aspire Atlantis? Well, let me tell you something. I prefer this over the Aspire Atlantis, and all this is going to be subjective. But 1, this thing holds more juice. 2, I can run this thing not only in clear-miser mode, but RTA mode. I can rebuild my own coils. And 3, this thing, the way this coil heads are, the way they're set up, I just prefer the way these things are set up over the Aspire Atlantis. I prefer the organic cotton. I don't know about all that ceramic material that's in the Aspire Atlantis, but that's just me. That's just, you know, it's all subjective. To each is their own. I've been loving this. I could vape this thing at lower wattages and get better flavor and get more vapor production off this device than the Aspire Atlantis as well. And that's the way I like to vape. It's all about how you like to vape. And with this tank, the way the settings are, this is the way I prefer it. Like I said, Kanger Tech, they're stepping it up, man. They're stepping it up above Aspire Atlantis. Hey, Aspire, you got to come out with something better. Can you do it? Can you do it? I guess we'll see. Oh, and that leads me to talk about RTA mode, okay? I'm going to show you all this in the close-ups, how it goes together, of course. But here's the thing. The only comment I found for this device, some units out there, they've come with different insulators, okay? The one I have, I've been fortunate, or the few that I have, okay? They've all come with the PEAK insulators. So, with the PEAK insulators, I haven't had any issues of getting that burnt, nasty, just the shit taste. With the other units out there, unfortunately, there's some other vapors out there that receive the units with, I believe, the Teflon insulators or something that's not made of PEAK. They've been having issues, and that's no good. And I gotta mention that as a con because those guys, they spent money on this device, and they've wanted to rebuild it. They're not able to enjoy the vape experience because of the insulators that Kanger put in there, but they fixed that issue. Okay, from here on out, I believe they're going to be using these PEAK insulators, which I'm going to show you in the close-ups, obviously. You know what? There's a couple other nitpicky cons that I want to get into. Subjective cons, but I still want to mention them. First of all, the airflow, the adjustable airflow, the ring, okay, while the ring, it clicks into place, you'll see in the close-ups, but it tends to get stuck. Throughout each click, it just gets harder and harder to turn it, okay? For me, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I could turn it every time, and once you get it going, you can click, 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 click. But for someone who's got weak fingers, they may have an issue. And then the second nitpicky con is that the brass 510 connection, it's not adjustable, okay? It's set. Everything else has been pretty much a treat, a freaking pro. I mean, them having this come out in 22 millimeter, it fits great on all my mechanical mods, looks the tits on all my variable voltage, variable wattage devices, screws down, makes a connection with all my devices, okay? Comes with this sick as tits drip tip, the stainless steel drip tip. The construction of this, quality control, rating this from a 1 to 10 scale, machining, machine oil, etc. I rate this 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. This did not have any machine oil. Mine did not have any machine oil. I rinsed it, I vaped it, that was it. No tasting machine oil, but everything else about this, I would say the reason why I got an 8.5 out of 10 and not higher, just like the regular Subtank, is because the threads are a little squeaky. Okay, other than that, this thing is flawless, man. Even though you have an RTA mode for this device, I mean, these OCC coil heads, they vape great, great, great. Like I said, I've gone through 8 to 10 between this and the regular Subtank, and those coil heads, every one of them's been consistent and has lasted me, I would say, at least a week. And on top of that, they are super easy to rebuild, and if you guys missed that rebuildable tutorial, I showed you guys how to rebuild this OCC coil head, okay, the link's in the description. Check it out. Another pro with a regular Subtank, okay, it came with 2 different top cap / shaft sections, one for the clear miser mode and the other for the RTA mode. With this one, it's just all in one. It's all in one, baby. They're both compatible. That's a super big pro, and I'll tell you why. Because for the regular Subtank, the shaft that went along with the RTA mode, I mean, they narrowed that sucker down, which made the airflow, it just made it a lot tighter than the regular clear miser mode. With this one, it's the same exact size all the way through and through for both modes. I mean, it's nice and wide. You get the same exact draw, whether you're in RTA mode or the clear miser mode. And that leads me to talk about running this thing in RTA mode. I mean, I'm getting pretty much the exact same vape quality as regular clear miser mode. And also, running this thing in nickel mode, holy shit! I mean, it is a great vape. It's a great vape. I got tutorials coming on that. But yeah, in RTA mode, if you know how to build your coils correctly, the vape experience is about the same as the OCC experience. Just like the regular Subtank, I love how this device looks. Love the packaging it came in. I mean, super classy. Also, price point for this device, the company that sent this to me, the online shop that sent this to me, they're selling it for $41.99. I think it's a very competitive price point for what you get. I think it's about that time. Let's go ahead and dive down. I'm going to show you guys this thing all in the close-ups, how to break it apart, how to put it back together, and then we'll come back and wrap her up. Here's the boxing for the Subtank Mini. Oh yeah. Slides out like so, and then on this box you got another Subtank Mini on the front. It looks cool. It looks sick as tits. But yeah, you got Subtank Mini, Kanger Tech at the top, the guys that manufacture this bad boy, and then on the back you got all the specs, cautions, etc. And this slides off, and then in here, there's your Subtank Mini. Oh, she's a beaut. But in here you got more instructional manuals, okay, how to fill this sucker. So basically, with these OCC coil heads, organic cotton coils, you got to make sure you prime them, because if you don't, you're going to burn the cotton, and you're going to be SOL, and you're going to be pissy and moany. So make sure you do not fire this sucker up without saturating this bad boy, this OCC coil head, before using it. But we're going to go ahead and take the tank out. We'll get to that in a second. But underneath here, you got more goodies. Ooh, what is this? Another instructional manual? Go figure. You got this other instructional manual, this other pamphlet I was looking for at the beginning, and then in between that, you've got your certificate of authenticity. And then underneath that, just like your regular Subtank, you got extra goodies. You got some organic cotton, extra O-rings, you got a pre-built coil, 2 extra screws, and you got a Phillips head screwdriver. This thing comes with an extra Pyrex tank, and you also receive an extra coil head, a 1.2 ohm coil head, and here is your rebuildable section for this device. And here's a close-up look of the extra coil head I just showed you, the OCC 1.2 ohm coil head. Recommended vape, as you guys can see, 12 watts to 25 watts. Okay, you got 2 juice feed holes, one on one side, 3 millimeter in diameter, and then one on the other, and then inside there is your coil with your cotton, your organic cotton. You got threads down here, which allows you to screw this coil head into the base of the Subtank Mini. And just like the other OCC coil heads for the regular Subtank, I mean, these are exactly the same. You got notches down here, okay, which allows the airflow from the base to feed through the base, through those notches, to the wick and coil. Now here's the rebuildable section for this device. Just like the OCC coil heads, you get your threads down here, and this thing replaces those heads. These threads allow you to screw this bad boy into the base of the Subtank, and this is where you can rebuild your coil. So if you don't want to use the OCC pre-built coil head, heads, you can use this bad boy. So it turns into an RTA, rebuildable tank atomizer mode. That's what this thing does. But you got 4 holes down here, and that's to allow the airflow from the base to feed up through here to your wick and to your coil that sits in this chamber. And just like the other rebuildable section for the original sub tank, you got 2 slots on each side, and that's where juice feeds to, through those slots, through the channels, up to the deck, to the wick, and then to the coil. And the rebuildable section is made of 3 parts. So the top part, that unscrews. Chamber section or barrel section. Okay. And then you got the deck section. Now, it's different than the other rebuildable section because, okay, it's lifted up on each side. The connections are lifted up on each side, and you got channels, these small little channels, and that's where you fit your wire, screw down, and make a connection. But yeah, this is a pre-built coil. Okay, so this is the deck on each side. Your wick sits on the deck. The juice feeds up through those channels on each side to the wick and then to the coil. A little recap on the RBA portion of this device. Okay, this one has a peak insulator. It's one of the newest updated versions. You take this pin out right here, unscrew it, and then the peak insulator comes out. This portion of the peak insulator. And then up top, this piece comes out like so. And then you got the other peak insulator portion that sits up top. See if we can get this sucker out. There she comes. And that is the other peak insulator portion right there. Pops back in there. This press fits on there like so. Hold that sucker down and then screw this in. Barrel screws onto that once you've got your wick and your coil all assembled. Then the top cap. This sub tank mini, it's 22 millimeters in diameter, so unlike the regular sub tank that's 25 millimeters in diameter, this is smaller, it's more compatible. Oh yeah, that's what we've all wanted. But in height, this thing is about 50 millimeters, okay, without the drip tip, 50 millimeters in height. The sub tank mini is constructed mostly of stainless steel. You got your Pyrex tank, nice red O-rings, as you guys can see at the top. You got your Kanger logo. Juice capacity for this device in both modes, RTA mode and clear miser mode. This thing holds 4.2, about 4.2 mils of e-liquid. Here's the base of this device. As you guys can see, it's got a brass 510 connection, and then you got your 510 threads down here. Obviously, nice buttery smooth threads. It says Sub Tank Mini at the top. Designed and manufactured by Kanger. Got a knurl section down here at the base when you want to grip it and you want to disassemble it, clean it, fill it up, etc. And then also down here at the base is your adjustable airflow. You got this airflow ring. Okay, you got 3 different airflow settings. Really 4 if you want to close her off all the way. But this is wide open. We're going to go ahead and turn it. 2 air holes open, turn it. 1 air hole open, or you can close it off all the way. And every time you turn it, it clicks into place. This tank comes with a pre-installed OCC coil head, and the OCC coil head reads at 0.5 ohms. I'm going to go ahead and be repetitive, especially for you newbie vapors out there, but just like I mentioned in the regular sub tank video, okay, you got your coil head in there, it's already pre-installed, okay, you fill this sucker up, and the juice feeds through those juice feed holes on either side to your wick and to your coil, and that is how this thing is meant to work. Time to disassemble her. Okay, so here's the stainless steel drip tip this thing comes with. Pretty wide bore at the top, and then it narrows down at the bottom. So you take this sucker out, nice snuggy fit, grip the bottom, and just start unscrewing. Threads on this device, still a little squeaky. I mean, compared to the regular sub tanks, about the same as far as the quality of the threads. But there's your base, coil head, and this is the 0.5 ohm pre-installed coil head. Recommended vape between 15 watts and 30 watts. That unscrews just like so from the base. And then here is your base. Threads for the coil head, the OCC coil head. Threads down here for your tank section. You got your O-ring, your padded O-ring to seal on the juice and pad the Pyrex tank. Here's the 0.5 ohm OCC coil head. Same exact design as the 1.2 ohm coil head, except this thing has a 0.5 ohm build, which means it's a lower resistance build versus the higher resistance build, the 1.2 ohm coil head. But yeah, you got your coil in there, you got your organic cotton, got both the holes, the 3mm in diameter holes on each side. tank section. Now notice this, the O-ring at the top, the O-rings all over the board, all across the board, they're fatter O-rings. I know they had some leaking issues, the sub tank, the version 1, not the version 1, but the regular sub tank. I never had any leaking issues, but it's good that they put fatter O-rings in there to help seal in the juice more efficiently. But how it works is, tank slides off just like so, and you want to do it gently because this is glass. Twist, I slowly pull this tank off. There she is. And then here's the top cap / shaft section. Drip tip catch cup. And then here are the threads which screw into the base. Another thing I have to mention, okay, I love how they simplified it. So this shaft section, this top cap / shaft section, it works for both RTA mode and clearomizer mode versus the regular sub tank, which they have 2 sections. Tank section slides over those O-rings, press fits. And then how to fill this sucker up is you fill it up between that shaft and the Pyrex tank walls all the way up to the top of the shaft, and you're good to go. Like I said, you can run this thing in 2 modes. So let's say we're using the OCC coil head, just go ahead and screw that sucker in. Once you have this sucker filled all the way up to the top of that shaft, go ahead, place it on there. Coil head press fits into that shaft and screws in like so. And you're good to go. Now let's just say you want to run this thing in RTA mode. Go ahead and swap out the OCC coil head for this bad boy. Screw it in just like you would the OCC coil head. Screw it in all the way. Once you have your juice filled all the way up to the shaft, go ahead and screw that bad boy in. Tighten her down. Drip tip. And you are good to go. So that is the Sub Tank Mini. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime and vape on her a little bit and wrap this sucker up.
Vape session.
So the company I received this bad boy from is a company by the name of VaporShark, vaporshark.com. They're the guys that are selling this thing for $41.99. And the big question today is, if I'd have lost this thing today, would I go back tomorrow and buy one? And the answer is hell yes. Hell yes. I haven't put this thing down. Okay, and if I don't put a device down and I keep grabbing for it, that means it's special. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.